Hello everyone, this video will show you some basic steps that you can take to generate an I-1000 test program using the CAMCAD software version 4.6. So let's start off with CAMCAD already loaded. You can see that I have a sample board already being displayed. What I'm going to do here is to actually let's do a zoom in onto the board graphics itself, so that you can get a clearer view of the whole board. On the column at the right side of the software, you can actually see a listing of the accessible nodes and the unaccessible nodes. This just give you a gut feeling of what it is. Let's now go into the accessibility report and let's try and do an access analysis. So we launched the Access Analysis GUI by selecting the Access Analysis on the menu. It takes a while for it to load, depending on how large your board size is. The larger the boards, the longer it takes. And there you should get the GUI. So now let's look at the target type that we get to choose from. This is the type of test targets on the board that you want to be included in your analysis. So what I'm going to do is just to take out some of the target type, like VR holes. I do not want to run a test. SMD type. I'm just going to click some of those and take it out, and let's see what kind of analysis we'll get after that. Next, let's move on to turn on the selection for both sides probing. Once this is turned on, you can see that the selections for top side probing will be enabled for us. I'm going to set it the same as the bottom side. Now let's take a look at some physical constraint settings that we can put in place. First and foremost, you may opt to select to enable the solder mask analysis, so that solder mask layer has been taken care of in the analysis itself. Then you can actually set the board outline distance. In this case, I would choose to just disable both of them. The minimum feature size is basically your test pad size. I would choose to put it down to 20 mils because some of the test points now are getting smaller, down to 39 mils test points. So once all these settings has been done and you're satisfied with what you have, all you need to do now is just to click on Process button, and it should give you a report of what is the accessibility of the board that you have now. So when you click on the Process button, the results will be displayed. And as you see from the results, everything is 0%. You've got no accessibility at all. It's probably because of a missing target type that has not been selected, resulting in no test access being given to this board. So let's move back to the target type. And what I'm going to do is to enable the multiple SMD pin, and I'll do the process analysis again. And this time around, we should see some better results than just 0% accessibility. And there you have it. We got a lot more test coverage, test accessibility on this board right now. So now you get about 55% accessibility. You can also turn on or generate a physical report that can actually show you what are the points, or rather what are the nodes that is accessible and what are the nodes that is not accessible, and why are they not accessible. Many times it's because there is no physical test access to the node itself, or maybe sometimes it is because the target type was not enabled during your analysis. So this gives us a very good report to decide whether the analysis is accurate or not. Once you're satisfied with the report, all you need to do is to click OK, and this will actually update the information back into the column on the right, where you can see the nodes that has been accessed or no access. So now that we have our access analysis being done and we are satisfied with the results, what we are going to do next is to actually perform a actual probe placement onto the CAD files itself. Before that, what I want to do here is to actually do a simple cleanup of the graphics so that I do not have so much layers of colors and blocks on the graphics itself. What I want to see is basically just the test probes, or rather the test pads available. So in the layer list, I can selectively turn on or turn off whichever layers that I don't want to see, and this basically will give me a better view of the whole graphics itself. So let me just turn off some of these layers, and you can see that the graphics is now being a lot cleaner, and only the test access points, or rather the test pads, is being left behind. Okay, so with that done, the next thing I would do is to actually go into the menu and select probe placement. Do this from the analysis menu and select probe placement. And there you go, you will get the probe placement GUI. In the GUI itself, you can choose to set different options. So let's start by reviewing the probes tab, where you can actually choose to enable what types of probes that you want to allow for CAMCAD to select. And also there are some other option tab that you can go through and set whatever constraints that you want. One point to note here is a probe number, the start probe number. Usually this will be set to 1, and the probe number will be numbering in a running sequence from this number onwards. So by default, I will set it to 1. And you can also choose to actually set a preference on the side of the board that you want to probe. So I'll enable both side probing and bottom side as my preference. There are also other options that you can set in this GUI, things like the probe force, the power rails probe numbers, how many probes you want to set on the power rails itself, and of course, as what we mentioned earlier on, the probe preference. So for the demo purpose, what I'll do is I'll just keep everything as default. The probe placement, or rather the probe preference, I'll set it to both sides, and I'll just do a process and see what do we get. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of part 1 of this video. Do join me again on part 2, where we will complete the rest of the process of the test generation for the Agilent i1000 systems. Thank you very much. Bye bye.